Evening all, welcome to the ground break. So this is Vanguard, and if you don't want to watch the whole of this video and you just want my thoughts on what this game is, it's brilliant, you should play it, it's actually very good. It's weird because it's the game that I always wanted Dust to be. Dust as a round-based shooter was brilliant. Tanks, vehicles, the lot, but it never meant anything. And that's why I always kind of struggled a bit with it, because when you play a game, you want to feel like you're progressing to something. And if you're going to play like Eve, Eve is something that you build towards. And I think having a first-person MMO shooter that's very much like Eve is actually a really good thing. Anyway, there you go. That's my too long, don't want to watch the whole video. I'm going to play this. I am definitely going to play this, and I enjoyed it. And I'm going to talk about the good things and the bad things. The PvP is pretty good. Here I killed somebody. Apparently this is a YouTuber. I joke, I know he's a YouTuber. But it's kind of funny because like I tracked him for a bit. So again, very Predator Vision with my Predator Vision scope there. I liked it. I thought the game was good. It had depth. It had feel. The run and gun is great. You'll see who it is in a minute. It was Ashrothy. Sorry, dude. It was fun though. I do think this game has got legs. I think it's going places. There's lots wrong with it. The matchmaking is not great. It takes me about 5 to 10 minutes to get into a match. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. Like clone banks, like there's little kind of Easter eggs all through the map that you get codes to open clones. I don't know what's going on. But how would you? This is the trouble with these sorts of things. They've not really got the player experience right yet. So for me, let's just assess it on the basis of, is it a good shooter? I think it is. Now, I wish there were more guns. I wish there were suits. I wish there was all that ability to do all those different things. And maybe it will come. I think it will come. That was another player, by the way. I killed him. No problem. Yeah, I shot him in the back. You got a problem with that? It's a shame he was awake. I could have killed him in his sleep if I had to, because that's how I roll, bro. I think the game is definitely going to go places. I liked it a lot, and I was surprised, actually. I thought I was going to log into something that was... Sorry, Dutch Gunner. I thought I was logging into something that was a little bit, let's say, less polished than it is. So... in the next video, I'm going to go and do a bit more of a breakdown of it because, you know, I get a real kind of joy from the various things, the components, the building blocks. And if I bring a bit of a business mindset to this, let's apply a business framework to it, which is if you're going to build a house, you've got to have a solid foundation. Well, what is this game? It's a gun game. It's a gun game. It's a shooter. Is that good? Does it feel good? Yeah, I think it does. I've played quite a lot of shooters at the moment, particularly Stalker 2, because that's kind of the big new game out, and I've always enjoyed Stalker games. Does this feel better than Stalker 2 in terms of gun game, in terms of character movement, in terms of, you know, so on? Yes, I think it is. I think the gun game is actually pretty good. I felt like the gun shot where I wanted it to. It wasn't a laser, I had to control it. I thought there was a lot there, and I was really, really quite impressed with that. The player movement, I think, is very good as well, because in Stalker and Fallout 4 and all these sort of Fallout games, you feel like you're a bit of a brick. You're kind of manoeuvring a brick around. In this, you feel quite agile. There's a few things, like I read on the Discord, somebody was saying they wanted vaulting, I guess like in, you know, Black Ops or whatever it is, Call of Duty and so on. Vaulting might be nice. I don't think it's needed though. I don't know if you necessarily need to include a mechanic that's basically already there. You just don't have the cutscene for it. I don't know, maybe not. But my feeling is that that is good as well. So movement, good. Gun game, okay, pretty good so far. My call out is the maps. This is incredible. Like, just look at what you're seeing here. This is a skyhook that's crashed out of orbit and basically walloped onto the belly of the Earth or the planet, and it's basically spread its goo all over the place. So this, to me, is just wonderful. Like, genuinely, the maps in sort of what I've seen so far. So I think there's 4 maps. I've played 3 of them, and each has impressed immensely. And I'm going to use a word I heard from Neeb's cast here, or Neeb's Gaming. Apsro used a wonderful word years ago in a podcast called verticality. And I got that because I've always loved games that have verticality. Because yes, you've got a large open 2-dimensional map. That's cool, but what you want to have is the ability to get above people. This gives you that. It is incredible. Like, I'm genuinely impressed with the maps. Do I feel like I'm in an Eve universe here where something terrible has happened and I have a gun in my hand? Yes. And I got excited about that. I got very excited about that to a point where, it was, I was genuinely sitting back thinking, I thought it'd be really quite sort of mediocre, but it's good. There's so much yet still to do though. And that's why I would say, give it a go. Please do give it a go and see how you feel. But I mean, just look, this gun game here, I'm fighting NPCs, I think, here. There's loads of NPCs on the map. I think this is more like Division. Think of the Division, the Dark Zone, which was always the most exciting thing about the Division game, was that Dark Zone. And it's very much like that. It's basically you're in the middle of kind of a map where you can be killed. I mean, it's a really quite clever map because you feel the suspense. Like, at every point you see here, I was worried. I actually deployed and I stayed in a single map for 30 minutes plus. And the map ended in the end. The clones were basically killed. So that must mean the map ends, like, stage 4, it kind of finishes. And I was genuinely enjoying every minute of it. Half an hour felt like 3 minutes. I was searching, I was looting, I was banking. It felt so much like the Division. It felt familiar, but it had that wonderful kind of Eve tint to it. There are problems with it. Like, I think the biggest issue I have at the moment is I just don't know what to do. The manufacturing, the blueprints, it's relatively, I guess, straightforward, but nothing in it makes me want to do it. I think that's going to be my problem with this game, is it's got to be signposted a bit better. And I think that's probably a very minor criticism because it's just me having not really got familiar with the game. This is literally day one. But my overall impression so far is I liked it. Like, I played it as soon as it dropped. I even did a little mini countdown and felt really excited about it, but then I realised I'm an adult with a mortgage and I probably should act like it. And I kind of played for the first time, got in the game, ran around, saw an NPC, thought it was a player, killed him, and was just like, oh yeah, son. And then the reality was it wasn't a real player, but I still felt good. And then I had to go out. I had to go and basically meet someone and have lunch. Yes, that's what I do because I'm a knobhead from London. But what kind of then got me was I was sat there eating my filet mignon. And I suddenly was thinking in my head while this person just talked to me, all I could see was their lips moving. And my head was completely thinking, God, I wish I was playing Eve Vanguard right now. And that's good, right? I can't think of many games, Factorio, Dust, Eve, I guess. These are the only few games I've ever played in my life where when you're not playing them, you miss that you're not playing them. And I think that was quite a jarring moment to me. So there we go. I do think there's so much here that I'm really excited about. The equipment, the gun, it's all okay at the moment. I think, again, if I have another sort of mini gripe, I wish there were more weapons in the game, but that's to come potentially, hopefully. I think the fact you've got an assault rifle, which was always the most boring gun in Dust. I think if anyone who used an assault rifle as your main in Dust, you basically wear corduroy and you eat vanilla ice cream and you basically only do missionary. I think that's kind of where you are. And I joke, don't angrily kill me, but I do think that the assault rifle was boring. I quite like the exotic guns. I mean, the Flaylock was literally a mini bolter from Warhammer 40k. It fired explosive, huge rounds. And I think those sort of things are just amazing. So let's hope there's a few more guns that come. But I did like it. I totally drank it in. Like, a game that you drink in has got to be good. I do think that. And I think, just exploring it, looking around, finding little kind of clues here and there, sort of like little hints at what codes could be for certain pods. I have no idea what's in the pods, but it sounds so exciting, I feel that's the kind of, the mantra of my game was to try and understand what's going on here then. Now, you read the little kind of synopsis at the start and it says, so-and-so force has managed to bring a skyhook out of orbit. Okay, I don't really know what that means, but it sounds incredibly interesting. And I think it's that. And then, when things then start to unfold, so here we go, like this little bit here is really cool. This terrified me. Who are these? Oh my goodness, what do they want? Why are they running at me? Why don't they have guns? I was terrified, and I just thought, wow, what is this? So there's probably some amazing lore going on here, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought, yeah, this is good. And I mean, looking through a knife at me then, was that a Nova knife? And just, yeah, I'm really quite impressed with it. So there we go, let's take a deep breath. So where would I probably think this game is going to go? I think it's going to be obviously an incredibly good accompaniment to Eve, but I think this is going towards shipboarding. I think my dream is going to be realised here, because the game is so good when it comes to inside these little areas here. You see here we have a ship here, or rather the remnants of a skyhook. Now I get that, it makes sense. It would be cool if it was ships. And again, you know, I think they have on a whiteboard in CCP HQ somewhere something that says, you know, boots on the ground. And I see again, what's that? No idea. And I think my frustration with that is it okay to have like a ground-based shooty game, ground break, all that nonsense, but it's missing something because it's a space game. The space bit is more important. And I think there's probably, if you gave somebody a choice of having, saying, you know, you can have a sci-fi game where you kind of shoot guns on the ground versus, do you fancy shooting on the hull of a spaceship? Or do you fancy sort of shooting maybe even zero gravity in parts? You know, people I think would probably choose the latter. Certainly sci-fi people would. Because what that effectively is going to give you is more of a sci-fi shot in the arm. This is good, I mean, but you're on a planet and you're kind of, you know, fighting on the ground. I still think there's something massive to be said about, you know, playing a sci-fi shooter, you know, sci-fi game based upon a game that's all about ships, because Eve is just about ships. You don't do anything outside of a ship at all, really, other than PI, which isn't really anything properly that you should be doing. A joke. It's terrible. And that's kind of why I think they have to go in that direction, because that's the more interesting angle. This is kind of like starters for 10 to get you into something. So let's see. I mean, I'm excited. It's obviously going to be something to do with the mercenary dens, obviously, that you now have in Eve. And it's going to be something linked to contracts, etc. But it does look as if the majority of the maps are basically a skyhook has fallen out of the sky and done damage to this particular planet. And I don't know if I'm mad about that. It makes sense for a certain subset of missions to do that. But if you're going to do ground-based stuff, don't just have it always around a devastated skyhook. Have it in something boring as well, like a forest, because that's also quite interesting. I don't know. If you stay on the ground, that is. I think the best thing to do here is to have fights on, you know, the top of a Charon freighter. Imagine that, literally watching it warp, watching it fight. Who knows? Just literally listing in space and it's spinning. Like, do you remember that map in Unreal Tournament? Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but like the two things, you know, rotating and you fight along a giant figure of 8. Just absolutely brilliant. That's what I would love to see. Whether or not we get that, I don't know. But so far, so good. My feeling of this this game, this test, this trial, is it's very well developed. It's got a good foundation. I liked it, and I thought it was quite interesting. I'm not just saying that because I'm a CCP fan, because I'm not really. I don't really play Eve that much anymore. I'm saying it more from a point of view, is this a good gun game that gets me interested and excited? Yeah, I think it is. And I kind of enjoyed it to a point where I'm like, what's happening? You know, what am I extracting here? Oh, I don't know why that guy didn't attack me. I don't know if that's a player. I don't think it is. And I just thought there's so much kind of cool things here that I'm really quite excited to learn a bit more about. So let's see where it goes. My kind of feeling is, no, it wasn't, as an NPC. My feeling is that there's so much here to get excited about. And the fact that it's linked to Eve is a really quite novel concept. It's not just going to be necessarily a standalone. It will have some impact to the wider game. So I think that makes me really quite excited to see where they could take that. Anyway, looking at the game, is it good? Yes. Would I recommend playing it? Absolutely. If you like Dust, this is worth a go. You're not going to be kind of just constantly shooting other players. So again, let's talk about that. One of the real kind of The things I enjoy is a bit more than that. I find it's a bit boring if all you do is log in, see dude, die, log in, see dude, kill, die, log in, see dude, kill, die. Boring. Not boring, but I find it's lacking something more. And I think eventually you get to a point where you're like, well, what's keeping me here? Well, let's try the different guns, the different suits. Well, they haven't got that here. What have they got? Well, they've got, like, I guess, a very large map with things to loot and extract and explore. Again, the issue I have with that is in Division, the whole reason you did that was for better guns, for rarer loot, that sort of thing. So for me, the loot table needs a lot of work. They need to have reasons to actually do that, because so far, as far as I can see, you deploy, you loot, you can then craft things on the ground. And Juno gave me a fantastic, Juno Tristan, go follow him and follow his YouTube channel, brilliant guy. He gave me the wonderful tip of probably one of the better things to do when you deploy is go and mine some ore really quickly and then make energy rounds. And I did that and I killed dudes. It was like, oh, great, thanks. And that's it. That's the kind of cool things you could have here. It's also going to break the mold a bit. It's not trying to, I like the fact that it's actually trying to be something different. Dust was trying to be Battlefield 2041, I think it was. Do you remember that one? The one with the two Titans? That was a great game. I really enjoyed that. But I felt Dust was really trying to emulate that. And MAG and other things. You know, it was kind of aimed very much at that design. I don't think I've ever played anything like this. And I think that's really cool because it feels more like Stalker and Fallout than it does feel about sort of, you know, anything that you kind of get like a Call of Duty, Battlefield and so on. And that is going to alienate some people because there's a lot of people, I think, who don't want the sort of MMO part of it. They don't want to loot things, buy blueprints, do industrial actions, mine. These are boring things to a lot of people. But again, are they aiming that at that sort of player? No, I don't think they are. So, interesting. I really got a lot from this. I played a number of rounds now. This is probably my best one, hence it's made the video. I died a lot because I didn't know what I was doing. And this was 30 minutes or so of just pure fun. Like, I genuinely really enjoyed it. And I think that when your first impression of something is genuine fun, I like that. I thought the PvP was great. I like that if you run around like a tit, you're going to get shot. And there you go, that's the paraphrase for the video, I think, right there. If you run around like a tit, you're going to get shot. And that's the truth, because I killed more players in this round playing like carefully and slowly. Like, what's going on here? These crazy dudes that rush you with knives. It's like, what is that about? I love it. I don't know what's going on, but I'm loving it. And I've never been so sort of half scared and worried, because at every point I'm just convinced there's something about to kill me. Oh, I'm panicked and building ammo here. I didn't realise I had energy rounds loaded if I just changed the ammo type like I do there. And then I'm good. But I just think this is good. I like it. I think it's good. And I think this is where you have to make a bit of a decision here, because if you don't want this sort of thing in your Eve, well then say goodbye to Eve, because I don't think Eve's going to last much longer. Yes, it makes a lot of money. What happens when the whales leave? The people that, there's a couple of 10,000 people or so that are pouring money into this game, and slowly and surely they're trickling away due to entropy. They're finding other games, they're dying. Because we're all old gits as well, and that's the reality. So this sort of game is critically important, and let me tell you why it's also even more important and why you should be logging on. Games like this are a marker to the developer. If the developer, CCP, it's done a lot of games, things like Valkyrie, Dust, etc., that you could argue have been successes for the short term, and they've not done very well long term. That's a problem. When it comes to creating content like this, not everyone is Star Citizen. Not everyone has access to $1 billion of development. You have to go to someone, a bank, or a larger company to borrow money to do this. And do you know what they do? Because I used to do this, is you look at that developer and you say, if we put money in you, what do we get? What's the likelihood of success here? And if they go and look at literally 1,000 posts on some forum from some edgelord who plays Eve and just wants another fucking mining ship, rather than have a second entire game that they could eventually grow to love and enjoy, you're mad and you're crazy, and you might as well just say goodbye to your game. So that's why I do urge everyone to play this game. With 10 seconds to go, clone death. I don't know if I was supposed to extract, post in the comments and tell me if I was, but as you can see, I was kind of inviting anyone to shoot me in the face at this point. And then the round ended, and then I looted stuff and blah, blah, blah. But what does any of it mean? No idea. But I give an impassioned, oh, look at all the loot. Ooh, lovely loot. Don't like the icons. We'll do a video where we break down this in much more depth, but my first initial view of this and the parting company of what I'll say is this is absolutely worth playing. Go play it.